Dear brothers and sisters, the role of a saint or a mystic has always been to connect our real self, our soul, with God. So irrespective of whatever faith they came in, irrespective of whatever languages they spoke, irrespective of whatever times they came in, the message was one and the same. That the purpose of a human being is to first realize who we are, to recognize that what we see with these eyes and what we hear with these ears is not what the reality is. That we live in a world of illusion, a world of Maya, and that we need to siphon through this to be able to get to the realities of our existence. That our existence is at the level of a soul. Our soul which gives life to the body, our soul which is the powerhouse on which our body works. And just like we feel the body, we see the body, we talk, we listen, we smell, we taste, these are mechanisms which are given to the human being to interact with others in this physical world. And as we interact with others, all of our interactions to us seem to be real, because we are focused in the world outside. And so the saints have always been exhorting us to focus our attention not on the outside, but on the inside. They've been telling us that the realities are within us. The spiritual worlds, which are more conscious than this physical world, are all within ourselves. And once we learn the techniques of inversion, of going within, of looking within, then we'll be able to experience the realities of this existence. And so when we read the writings of all saints and mystics, they talk about meeting God, moksha, or getting off the wheel of transmigration, finding our oneness with God. And they all talk about God not being in outer space, but being within ourselves. This human frame has been called Hari Mandir. Hari Mandir means the temple of God. It's also called Nar Narayani Day, which means like in this human body, we have a soul and we have God. Both of them are present in this human frame. And if we were to invert, then we would be able to find that connection. And so when we try to understand the teachings of saints and mystics, they've all said the same thing in different words. But what is very interesting is all of our scriptures tell us that those who love are the ones who find God. And so what is very common is that the way to experience God is that of love. Love which is divine, love which is between our soul and the Creator, love which transposes from the physical to the divine. Sant Rajinder Singh Maharaj very beautifully talked about the spiritual journey. He says, "Khak se taba kya kasha, हमने तो जब किया सफ़र इश्क मिला कदम कदम हुस्न मिला नज़र नज़र." He says, when I traveled from the earthly to the heavenlies, I found love at every step and beauty in every glance. So the journey within is a journey of love, and the regions within are so much more beautiful than this world outside, that once we are in those regions, we're enamored. Anything that's beautiful brings a lot of joy to us. And so as we are in those regions which are more conscious than this physical region of ours, we find joy, ecstasy, and bliss overtake each and every pore of our being. As we look at our lives, we find that as a child is born, we as parents are always exhorting to take their attention and put it in the world outside. You know, many times those of you who are children, you see children all of a sudden like laughing or smiling or thinking of something in their own sense. And what are we trying to do? We think that they get happy with the toys outside. So if you have a crib, then you put all those toys which are moving around, which are making noises, which are circling around, because you think that the kid will look at those toys and would get very happy. And so right from a child's age, we are taking their attention and putting on the world outside, because we feel that now that they are here with us, we need to entertain them, we need to keep them happy, and so the only thing we know about is gadgets that we find out from the world outside. Okay. Not realizing that everything that makes us happy is on the inside. So as the child grows, the attention of the child by the parents is put on the world outside. Okay. As soon as the child grows a little bit more, we start to teach them the languages that we know. Depending on where the child is born, or what language is prevalent in the country they're born, or what is the language that we speak in our own homes, we teach them. And so communication through languages is happening with whom? Everyone on the world outside. Whether we teach them Hindi or Punjabi, or English or German or Spanish or French. This is all to speak to other people on the world outside, to hear what they're saying, to understand what they're saying. So we're taking the attention of the kid and putting in the world outside. No one teaches a child how to commune with God. No one teaches a child how do you love God. We teach them, oh, you need to talk to this guy, you need to listen to this person, so learn this language. So we put the attention. And then what do? We say, oh, we need to send the children to school, they need to learn. Now what do we teach them in our schools? Languages, mathematics, sciences, geographies and histories. Everything about the world outside. And so what have we done? We've done this child who in the first few months is laughing and is happy, all of a sudden they are under stress. They need to learn the alphabet, they need to learn the words, they need to learn this. If they don't put their cutlery properly, on the table, their parents scold them. They need to learn all of that stuff. All of a sudden we put so much stress on the kid that instead of the child enjoying the life which they are when we're not bothering them that much, they are under so much stress and their attention is going on the world outside. Now they're learning about this world. Now what happens is, as we learn, then it's natural that our mind then will take us to those things that we might start to like there. Okay. Our attention goes into the world outside, into all these distractions. And the life of a person generally goes like this. We go to school, we go to college, we get married, we have kids. All of our attention then is, if we are in school, we're studying hard. When we go to college, we have to study even harder. When we get married, then we start to spend time with our spouses. Once we have children, then all of our attention is on the children, and we do the same thing that our parents did with us. We then put them in a crib and we get boom, 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 all this kind of stuff. And the cycle keeps on going on and on and on. And so what has happened is, the child doesn't even remember where it came from. So the role of a saint or a mystic is for us to recognize who we really are. And this is why we pay homage to the spiritual masters, to the saints, to the mystics, to the founders of all the faiths who came into this world and who taught us what is the right way of living, who taught us who are we, who taught us what is the purpose of this life, who taught us how can we reach our goals in this very lifetime. And unfortunately, what happens is that once the saint or the mystic passes away, the teachings are adhered by their followers and they say, this is mine. And they just try to grab it for themselves and keep it from others. Okay. But when you look at the teachings of all the saints and mystics, they're all one and the same. They all talk about God the Creator. They all talk about us being soul as a part of God. they all talk about the purpose of life is to commune with God, to be with God, to be one with God. And if we can understand that, if we can realize that, then we will take steps to get towards our goal. As we lead our lives, we all know that this life is limited. As we grow, we realize that our grandparents pass away, and then we get older, our parents pass away. So we see that this life is not permanent. As a young person, you might think you might live forever, but that's not possible. So as we age, we realize that. So this life is limited. And saints have been talking about this human existence at the roof and crown of all creation. That this is an existence in which God has given us all the faculties that are required by us to know God. So the key is to be able to make use of those faculties. If we have something, if we don't use it, then it's useless. Let's say you get a gift. You have a birthday and your friends give you gifts, and you get a gift and you put it in the cupboard or the almara in the home and never open it up, you can't benefit from that gift. So God has given us this gift to be able to decipher what the purpose of life is and how to get there. So if we don't use it, then this life would go away, because if it starts here and it's going to end here and we haven't done anything, then we'll be back in the wheel of transmigration. And if we think about how many different living forms are there, in the East we talk about 84 lakh jiajun, which means there are 8.4 million of species. And what is very interesting is there was research done, and the scientists came up with a number. They said there may be between 7 and 9 million of species, very close to what the people in the East have been saying for thousands of years, 8.4 million of species, 84 lakh jiajun. So it's very interesting that the words of the saints, which might have been said 2,000 years ago, 1,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago, are being proven by science today. The saints all talk about Shabd. So this Amrit Dhara, or the divine nectar, or the holy word, or the Shabd, or the Naam, has been talked about by the saints and mystics for thousands of years. That this is what brought all creation into being. This is reverberating within each and every one of us, and we can experience this. And science today is saying that at the heart of the smallest particle is a vibration. It's very interesting. When I used to go to school many moons ago, we were told that the smallest particle, electron, protons and neutrons, and these are the smallest elements. Okay? And then we all learned through the schools, we went to the best of schools, and they were all teaching, okay, the smallest particle is solid, because that's all our big instruments couldn't decipher. But as technology advanced, a few years later, they started talking about, and they broke the smallest particle. They have 12 quarks. 11 they found, one they could not find for a long time. And so when they couldn't find it, they called it a God particle. Because if you can't find anything, you say it's God, because we can't understand it. And what is very interesting is, now they're saying that each particle is a vibration. But the vibration is so fast that it looks solid to us. And so as their instrumentation became better, they could realize there's a big vibration. And what is the Shabd? In the six scriptures, Kabir Sahib says, Awwal Allah Noor upaya, Kudrat ke sab bande, Ek Noor se sab jag upja, Kaun bhale kaun mande. He's saying, in the beginning was God, and from God came this divine nectar, whether you call it Shabd or Naam or holy word. And he says the whole world was created by this power of God, and who are we to say this is high and this is low? So for the saints, we are all one and the same. They look at everything as the same, because they realize that in reality we are soul, we are a part of God, and when they look at us, they're not seeing the outer frame, they're seeing that soul which is in the human body. A disciple of Sant Darshan Singh Ji Maharaj asked him, he said, It's natural for a disciple to bow down to the spiritual master, but when Sant Darshan Singh Ji Maharaj meets someone, he'll kind of bow down. And so a disciple, why do you bow down to your disciples? To the disciple, it didn't make any sense. And Sant Darshan Singh Ji Maharaj very beautifully explained. He says, I'm seeing God in this person, and that's who I'm bowing down to. I'm not bowing down to the human frame, I'm bowing down to God. Because God is in each and every one that I meet. And that's the vision of the saints. And how do you see God in everyone? First you need to see God in yourself. If you don't see God in yourself, you're never going to see God in anyone else. And so meditation is the means by which we can experience God within ourselves. So all of the saints are exhorting us to do that. And so the saints tell us that when you live at the level of a physical senses, you're living in a dream state. So we need to spiritually awaken. We need to recognize who we really are. We need to get away from I'm the body, I'm the mind, I'm the intellect. We need to realize that we are soul. And that is what spiritual awakening is all about. But how do we do that? Unless we experience ourselves as soul, it's all hearsay. We can read it in the scriptures, we can read it in the writings of the saints, but the key is in the experience. And that is where meditation comes into play. It's a means by which we can experience ourselves at the level of the soul. It's a means by which we can go on the flight of the soul. It's a means by which we can soar through the inner spiritual regions. There are spiritual regions beyond this physical region, but they're all occurring concurrently with this region of ours. Just like everyone has TVs these days, you got so many channels coming. It's not like one stops, another comes. They're all coming at the same time. It depends on where your focus is. If you're interested in the news, you listen to the news channels. If you're interested in comedy, you listen to channels which provide comedy to you. If you're interested in movies, you put on channels which give you movies. And if you're looking for sports, then you focus into the sports channels. So, but they're all occurring at the same time. It just, wherever you focus your attention, whatever on the remote you push to get the channel you want, that's the one you watch. So it's the same thing with this spiritual region. They're all occurring concurrently with this physical region. So it's a question of focusing our attention away from the physical region into the spiritual region. We all have a one-to-one connection with God. So the role of a spiritual master or the role of a saint or mystic is not for them to connect us with them. Their role is to connect us with God, because in this human body is our soul, in this human body is God. The difficulty is in this human body is also a mind. And our mind is like a wall between our soul and God. And the help of the saint comes so that the mind, which is distracting us, which is taking attention, putting in this world, is unable to distract us. So the help of this saint or the mystic comes so they can teach us the mechanism by which we're able to still the mind. So that the power of the mind is not taking our attention, putting it into the world outside, but we direct that power of the mind towards God. And that's the role of the saint. So it's just like those of you who've gone to school and gone to chemistry labs, and if you have two elements and they don't connect with each other, you put a third element which is called a catalyst, so that the both can connect. So the role of a saint or a mystic is as a catalyst. The soul is there and God is there, they're not connecting. Because the mind is taking the outer expression of our soul and putting in the world outside, which is our attention. And so the role of the spiritual master is to take that attention and focus it within ourselves, so that by mechanisms which are given by the saints or mystics, the mind can be focused towards God. And once that happens, then the mind becomes helpful in our spiritual journey. So whenever the saints and mystics come into this world, they're always exhorting us to go within. They want us to fulfill the very purpose of this existence. They know we all can experience God. God is not the commodity of a few people in some part of the world. God is for each and every one of us, irrespective of where we are born, irrespective of our faith, irrespective of our intelligence levels. We all can be one with God. It's a question of how much passion do we have to know God. It's a question of where we focus our attention. And so the saints and mystics are always exhorting us to go within, to take our attention from the world outside, to go within ourselves and to experience the realities of this existence and to be able to take steps so that we can go on a flight of the soul. We can go on the journeys within, because once we go within and when we experience the divine light and sound of God within, then the realization sets in that if I can experience the light of and sound of God, so can everyone else. Then no one seems like different. Everyone seems one and the same. Everyone seems an extension of ourselves. Everyone seems to be a part of one great family of the Creator. And then our dealings with everyone are very compassionate, very loving, very caring, and then we are helping each other because we all realize that we're all going towards the same goal. Even if the goal is here, someone could be here, someone could be here, someone could be here, but we all need to reach there, so then we can help each other get to our goals, and that's what selfless service or seva is all about. It's to help others be able to reach their goals. And so as we all gather here today, let us just spend some time to focus on what this life is all about. You know, whatever stages of our life we are on, it's very important that we take a good look at ourselves. Whatever has happened in the past has happened. We don't need to worry about it. We can't change it. There's no need to spend that much time on it. But we see whatever time is left, we don't know how long we're going to live. But let us spend whatever time is left between now and the time we physically pass away to truly focus on the true purpose of this existence, to know ourselves totally as soul, to experience ourselves as soul, to go on the spiritual journey, to have a soul merge in God. So that all starts with meditation. Let's just meditate for a few minutes. Please sit as comfortably as you can. Close your eyes very gently, just like you close your eyes when you go to sleep. Your eyeballs should be straight, focus 8 or 10 inches in front of you. And as you close your eyes, those of you who've been initiated in the mysteries of the Beyond, please do your Simran. And those of you who are new here, please repeat any name of God that you feel comfortable with. This repetition of God's name should be done mentally and not out loud. As you keep your focus within, with time, you will experience flashes of light, circles of lights. And lights could be of various colors. It could be golden, it could be white, it could be red, blue, green, yellow, orange, or some other color. So you just keep your focus right in the middle. And with time, these lights to you will seem like they're stabilized. And then you'll be going beyond the lights. You might experience a sky full of stars. If you get there, focus in the middle of the biggest of the brightest star, it could give way for you to experience the inner moon. You focus in the moon, it could even give way for you to experience the inner sun. And when you lovingly gaze in the sun, you might be able to get to what is called the radiant or ethereal form of your spiritual master, who guides us into the inner spiritual regions. So our job is to sit in silence. Our job is to focus properly, and everything else, whatever is right for us, whatever God wants us, are the experiences that we'll have. So I pray to God Almighty and to the three great spiritual masters of the past century, Hazur Baba Savan Singh Ji Maharaj, Param Sant Kripal Singh Ji Maharaj, and Dayal Sant Darshan Singh Ji Maharaj, to help each and every one of us connect with the divine power within and to experience the divine light in its effulgence. So we'll be sitting for a few minutes. I'll be getting you out of this meditative state at that time, and my best wishes are with each in every one of you. Please leave off. Please leave off.